When a young Dennis Bergkamp burst onto the football scene during the late 80s and early 90s, fans and experts alike quickly hailed the young Dutchman as the second coming of Johan Cruyff.
Even los van Jan Mulder, zijn tegenstander, en daar maakt hij onmiddellijk gebruik van Dennis Bergkamp.
His blistering pace, sublime close-quarter dribbling, and effortless scoring ability gave the comparisons weight, and before long his unique playing style would put him on his own pedestal, where today, being compared to the great Bergkamp is one of football's highest praises.
Pulls it back for Bergkamp. What a goal! Dennis Bergkamp. Unbelievable.
Welcome back to How Good, the series where we break down skill sets and careers of the greatest footballers across the globe, past and present.
So it's good to be part of history of football. I'm there, and of course he's there as well.
On today's video, we revisit the rapid rise and unforgettable prime of the legendary Ajax and Arsenal forward, Dennis Bergkamp.
Dennis Bergkamp was the most entertaining footballer all round that I have ever seen.
He's considered by many as one of the most intelligent, technical, and artistic players in the modern game. But was he really that good? To find out, we kick things off by turning the clock back to where it all started. As I'm sure many Arsenal fans will be delighted to hear, Dennis Bergkamp was born and raised in Amsterdam, where his father, a low-league amateur footballer himself, named his son after the legendary Manchester United striker Dennis Law. Yet to make matters worse for the Gunners fans tuned in, his idol growing up was that of a Spurs icon from the 80s in Glenn Hoddle, where as a kid, he would replicate the mature and technical side of Hoddle's game on the concrete pitches in Amsterdam. In doing so, Dennis quickly caught the eye of scouts from the local giants, Ajax. Growing up in walking distance of Ajax's stadium, it was always Dennis's dream to play for his local club, and while they were titans of Dutch football domestically during this period, their efforts in Europe had been lackluster for many years, 13 to be precise. Yet in Bergkamp's debut season, things started to change.
Guerrero, number 6, his man marker, and not too far wide, Bergkamp.
As physically imposing as Bergkamp appeared to be, the more mature players of the Dutch league would terrorize him week in, week out, where crunching tackles were met by cheers from the opposing crowd, leaving the Dutchman no option but to either toughen up or reconsider his career.
Bergkamp so clearly the target for Feyenoord early on.
Over the next 3 or so years, under strict instruction from the new coach, Louis van Gaal, Bergkamp developed into a deadly number 10, scoring 30-plus goals in consecutive seasons and earning a European Player of the Year award along the way. Bergkamp's pace and consistent finishing were at its peak during this period. By the age of 24, Bergkamp netted 122 goals for Ajax, an incredible goal-scoring feat, but from an Italian football perspective, a misleading one. Throughout the Italian league's rich history, the top Dutch players from various eras were always a part of the most winning sides.
Can the two substitutes make an impact? Yes, they can!
Ruud Gullit, Frank Rijkaard, and Marco van Basten were the notable ones from this period, which led to Inter Milan taking a gamble on Bergkamp from Ajax for a fee of roughly £7 million. While Bergkamp's goal-scoring numbers were impressive at Ajax, Inter tried turning the young Dutchman into an out-and-out striker as opposed to the number 10 and wide role, where he'd had so much success in the past. Former strike partners Brian Roy and Stefan Peterson allowed Bergkamp the freedom in behind to score and create goals with some astute link-up play. At Inter, he was often left up top in a 4-3-3 to fend and create goals on his own. Inevitably, this led to his first 2 seasons at the club being a total right by his own standards, netting just 11 times in 52 appearances. While his reputation at club level was starting to dwindle, things couldn't have looked any brighter on the international circuit.
Looking for Bergkamp, another dangerous ball, and he stripped that one past once and scored. It's Bergkamp for Holland.
Bergkamp's Euro 92 and World Cup 94 were career-defining tournaments considering his lack of form in Inter. He scored in pretty much every game in both competitions, progressing his team to the semi and quarterfinals in successive tournaments respectively. The style of football played in Italy during the mid-90s just didn't bode well for Bergkamp's skill set. He thrived on fast-paced attacking football with the freedom of rotational positions up top. His partnerships for Holland with Brian Roy and Mark Overmars issued as a stern reminder to world football how dangerous this now 26-year-old can be in suitable conditions. It was only a matter of time before another big club took a gamble on him, yet the team he signed for in June 1995 came from left field, to put it mildly. To put things into perspective, Arsenal Football Club had an average league position of 8th from 1991 to 1995, finishing as low as 12th in 1994. The lack of success prompted the manager at the time, Bruce Rioch, to use up as much resource as possible and bring in the world-renowned Dennis Bergkamp.
Dennis was a little bit of an eye-opener to say, wow, where's he going to play?
Foreign players were a rarity in the Premier League at this time, especially one of Bergkamp's status. However, with a bit of persuasion from Dutch teammate Glenn Helder, Dennis put pen to paper and quickly established himself as one of the leading technicians in England.
We had Dennis, who was the sexiest player on the planet with a ball at his feet.
Dennis failed to score in his first 5 or so games for Arsenal, leading to the press jumping on his back early on. But to give Arsenal fans credit, they never doubted their new man. And when he broke his drought against Southampton in September, he gave the fans something to cheer about, with a glimpse of the sheer quality that was to come.
Right, going to the near post. Bergkamp! There it is at long last. Bergkamp. He's got within range. Into his path.
Bergkamp's major highlight from his first season was, without a doubt, his last-minute goal against Bolton to secure Arsenal a UEFA Cup spot on the last game of the season.
1-1 isn't good enough. Bergkamp! Oh, Henry is ecstatic. They know that could be the goal, which sends Arsenal into Europe.
In retrospect, if that ball had never hit the net, the recent history of Arsenal could have been entirely different.
I've been playing all season for this to get into Europe, and finally we got it, and that's such a relief, and it's such a great feeling at that moment that you're finally there. It's brilliant.
People often forget, Arsenal's football reputation throughout the late 80s and early 90s was branded by fans and media as some of the most lackluster in the country. Boring Arsenal were the chants in the away end on most occasions. Yet the new inspiring and creative manager from France, along with his main man Bergkamp up top, made one of the quickest transitions the Premier League has ever seen.
Finds Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp! What a goal for the Dutchman!
The football was brilliant, and while many different players came and went, Bergkamp remained as the magician up top. His ability to adapt to an array of varying strike partners in such a short space of time speaks volumes for his creative genius. First, there is Ian Wright, who himself rates Dennis as Arsenal's greatest ever player and a partner of dreams. Then, there was Nicolas Anelka, a brilliant young player at the time, and a man that would go on to play for some of the biggest teams in world football. Yet he rates Bergkamp as the smartest player he's ever played with. And last, but certainly not least, his unforgettable partner in crime, Thierry Henry, where together they forged one of the most exceptional strike partnerships in Premier League history.
For me, the best player that I've played with, full stop. I've played with a lot of players, but as a striker is a dream. But Dennis, whenever somebody was moving, he was giving the ball. And Dennis was the master at that, you know.
When it came to individual quality, Bergkamp was in a league of his own. His breathtaking first touch, close-quarter dribbling, quick feet, and passing skill ranks as, to this day, one of the most noteworthy in football history.
Then Dennis Bergkamp arrived, who was just an absolute magician, Dennis Bergkamp. But if Dennis Bergkamp played in the snow, he wouldn't leave any footprints. You know, that's how good he was. He used to float. He was just ridiculous, Dennis's touch. And if you watch his 100 goals for Arsenal, over his career, Dennis Bergkamp's best goals, some of the goals are just out of this world. They really were.
Trying to get it into his path. Bergkamp again!
While winning trophies was pivotal for Dennis throughout his career, a quote made by him post-retirement which read, "My goal is to not only win trophies, but look good doing it." Made me want to focus this video more on his ability individually, rather than as a team player as we've done previously on this series. Because when you think back to Bergkamp as a player, you think, that goal against Bolton, his winner against Spurs in '96, his hat-trick against Leicester, the magnificent winner against Argentina in the '98 World Cup, and there were many more in fact, for a player that wasn't exactly a prolific goalscorer for Arsenal. His highlight reel has to be in the mix for the best in Premier League history. He just didn't know anything other than spectacular. Speaking of which, we saved the best for last. Bergkamp versus Newcastle away, March 2nd, 2002. Enjoy.
Bergkamp suddenly changed pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp! That's magnificent! The move, and then this!
Here is a brief look at Bergkamp's career stats and my own personally rated performance card. If you want to learn more about Arsenal's achievements as a team during their glory years, so to speak, look out for our THIERRY Henry video coming in the near future, where we'll dive directly into the details about the trophies and other key squad members from that time.